Hello Virgo, it's me, Brandy, coming at you from Taurean.com. I'm sorry I'm not so fancy with the YouTube. I'm usually pretty busy just doing people's readings. so, uh, as you can see, your spread, we got the Chariot, the Four of Cups, Temperance, Intensity, and Flowering. It's pretty much like water and fire, my friend. That's what I feel like by looking just at the energy here, you know, like all these passive colors, all these intense colors. So I do feel like your efforts, or where you're starting to see results of your inner work with patience, because water is always like subconscious feelings, inner work, intuition, right? And intensity is fire, where your emotions are heightened and situations demand your full attention, and a lot of inner work that pushes that growth for your pursuits, pretty much, where you're going to see things clearly and get rid of these false perceptions while doing that inner work, because you've been bored, been sitting still, you know, with the Four Cups. And it's kind of encouraging you to look at reality, awareness. And a lot of people are being called to look at awareness, which is going to be a hard feat, friend. Even for me. Like, we all think we know ourselves, right? But do we? On a level, we do. I mean, even for a Buddhist. But there's still outside pressure that comes at us. Things we grew up with. You know? Pushing people away isn't knowing ourselves. I'm just going to put that out there. Pushing people away and running away is not knowing ourselves. So you are definitely getting this intensity that indicates that there's a process here about heightened emotions, which are going to challenge and push you to your limits, but offer very deep, personal, spiritual growth. Okay, we're, like it says, emerging from those illusions so you can be more authentic, so you can be more self-aware of patterns and cycles. And that's very essential. But it feels intense. Like I said, you could go from a crying mess to a motivated, you know, entrepreneur all within 30 minutes. Because those feelings of dissatisfaction and questioning, kind of opportunities to reevaluate what matters in your life. Maybe needing to slow down. Everyone remembers, like, when we were so slow when COVID came, right? And we've never been able to get back, and it's like the world tried to get on, and now the world is 5 times the speed. I mean, it's insanity. It's kind of what I feel here with your reading. Okay? So that's more about staying focused and pushing through these challenges when your confidence takes a dip and your emotions. You know, that's more about a sign to just kind of go with it. So you can get some clarity and balance the emotions, the exhaustion, the go, the stay. You know, just by focusing, recognizing that's part of the process. You know, and you'll get beyond that. You'll get into an empowered state again. But it is talking about, like, being determined for this personal growth and understanding the ebb and the flow of the life. Whew, okay, I mean, I feel like you're going to get this pointed focus where you know precisely where you need to head, even if you go on a downtime. And I feel like you're going to move so fast, pure energy when you're in that mode. You know, top speed, friend. You know what point A, what point B is, what point C is. Yeah. That's good, Virgo. You know, because I know you guys sometimes can be overly critical of yourselves. And I think a lot of people, when you get there, you're going to have to understand. They're going to feel very uplifted and refreshed by your presence. Some people are going to feel threatened and annoyed. But those opinions don't matter. You don't need to be taking on other people. That's what keeps you in an illusion state. It's what kind of keeps you like stuck. You got to find your own source. You got to be your own source, you know. You don't need to imitate anyone. Please do not imitate anyone. That is the illusion. You don't need to be some chameleon. Okay? You I don't know. You just need to believe in yourself, really. You need to get that desire back. You need to get that intuition back, that creativity. You know what I mean? That oomph. If you got, like, the 4 of Cups, you got to sit under a tree by the water stream and read a book, by all means, if that's what your energy is telling you to do. Especially when you don't know what else to do. Sometimes reading a good old book, friend, going to help you out. You know, out in nature if possible, or under the sun if possible. You know, you guys got to think that way. I mean, you could be dreaming more too, and that's linked to the spirituality, which may confuse you. It can blur boundaries. It just, like, you need to pay attention about, like, warnings about being misled, over idealistic, burning out, because, you know, fire can burn you out too if you go a little too much. Water can drown you. Like, it's all about balance here. So you can pursue passions, you can make bold moves, but you also got to allow, like a flower takes time, right? That process, there's a process so you don't burn out. That ideal of what you should and should not do is the influence, I believe, of like the Pisces, the Neptune, the water energy coming in, trying to smack down the fire. And the fire, you're like, you got to blend these. You don't want to be confused. You don't want a false perception. You don't want to come ungrounded. This is more about balancing action with intuition, with your natural enthusiasm, to propel you forward and remain cautious and discerning about what is real versus what is fantasy, right? Because in summary, like, this energy is a powerful force, and it's very successful, but can also burn out real fast, if you can't tell. And temperance is saying, hey, moderation, friend, moderation, moderation. You can pursue your passions for October, but it's asking you to remain, feet on the ground, avoid illusions, put balance in your life, spiritual awareness, authentic experiences, avoid people who could, mislead you. I feel like this is with the Chariot even showing here, like it's a neutral color and it's a fire color. That's balance. Moderation gets you to success. Double check facts. Avoid escapism when you face challenges. Don't run away. I keep getting that here. Ground your goals in reality. Constructive things that support that growth. So, you have this here. You just got to avoid going 0 to 100. I don't care if you came here for love, friends. I'm the shadow worker. Okay? Which brings me to this. That shadow friend. This is a tendency to stay in a planning mode and avoid making decisions, or making too many decisions all at once, where you end up being stuck, wanting to move forward and fearing risk as uncertainties involved, and you don't plan anything out and it fails. Okay? That is what I'm picking up for you, Virgo, as I am a shadow worker. And I ask Spirit, what can we do to make sure they are successful? Because I want all of my people to be successful and healed versions for the world. That's kind of my job, right? So this overall situation, it's in a phase where you're dreaming big, right? And you need to plan, but you're holding back due to uncertainty and not knowing where it goes. So that shadow's urging you to commit to taking a step and stop contemplating and start moving with confidence and moderation. That success involves embracing the unknown. And, even when the path is not clear, it's balance with action, energy, spiritual insight, decisive moves, not all at once, not 0 to 100. Recognize where fear is overthinking and holding you back from manifesting. Okay? Just move beyond planning and hesitation. Use that passion when it's there. Use that spiritual awareness, confidence, and you will pave the way for your success. Whatever you're wanting, you know what I mean? You got to be in alignment, friend. I bid you farewell.